Yeah, so when we talk about Atheni, we like to talk about Carol because I think it's easier to talk through what Atheni does. I think if you just think about the user rather than thinking about the the functionality and everything. Yeah, it gets kind of nebulous. So we talk about Carol. So Carol is representative of 96% of professionals out there who are just totally overwhelmed and lost in the AI era, which I think we are all either Carol or we know a Carol.
Listen,
probably.
I mean, so many people here have said to me when we've explained about Carol, they've said, I'm Carol.
Yes, exactly.
And they're VCs and they're all sorts of people. Yeah. They're all got their hands up going.
Exactly. But because it's 96% of people, right? But that's the engine of our economy. Those are the people who create value in it. So here's Carol. Carol has got ChatGPT at work. She doesn't really know what to do with it. She knows it probably has some value, but doesn't really have time to figure it out. No. She knows that there are a bunch of other tools out there, many of which could probably help her, but she's not going to spend her own time doing it. She's not a techie. She's not particularly interested in AI. She's kind of sick of hearing about AI. Yes, scared of making a mistake, all that kind of stuff. So she's got no way to kind of navigate her way through this world. And for her boss as well, her boss kind of knows that there is value in AI. He knows he should be doing more. He knows his team should probably go on some courses, but which one? Who can afford the time out? So basically Atheni is Carol's AI sidekick. So it's not another tool, it's basically that missing navigation mid-layer that makes all AI tools work for people like Carol, real actual people in their actual jobs. And so basically Atheni does three things. First of all, it looks at Carol's workflow and then it's able to match very carefully Carol to the right tools, to the right agents, to the right automations that are going to be the highest impact for her particular workflow in her particular role for Carol herself. So it's about looking out onto those, 13,000 AI tools that are out there and saying which one has actually got some value for me, or for Carol. So that's step one. Step two is that Atheni hyper-personalizes Carol's interactions with her LLM. So whether that's ChatGPT or a Claude or a Gemini or whatever tool she's using, it takes a dynamic system prompt with her that means that context goes into the ChatGPT or the LLM, and it means she gets value from it immediately. So she's not getting generic responses. She does not need to become a prompt engineer, because when you're clicking through from Atheni, you're getting pre-engineered prompts and you're getting that dynamic context going with you.
It makes such a difference, because suddenly it goes from that generic of return of like, don't really know, to I know exactly what you need, exactly how you need it, exactly when you need it, and you suddenly go, whoa, it's a real aha moment for many people.
It's the aha moment, exactly. So that's number two. And then number three is that what Atheni does is match Carol to exactly the right upskilling programs for her. So it looks at, for example, if Carol is working in marketing, if she takes an hour or so to go and learn how to do automations on Make, then that basically means that she has 10x herself in that hour. She's able to suddenly, totally automate her social media because of that 1 hour she spent upskilling. But that skill for a senior CFO, for an executive assistant, is totally useless. It has no impact whatsoever. So it's like, with the, as you know, with human capital kind of hat on and economics hat on, is that the technology is moving at this incredibly fast pace, and every time that we see this enormous development in technology, what it's doing is it's changing the skills that are required in the economy in order to actually drive business results, to drive economic growth, all
so
of that kind of stuff.
Now, and
it's going so fast. It's supersonic speed, right? But then our ability to actually upskill people and develop those skills in the economy is still snail pace. It's still analog,
mindset,
right?
As well, isn't it? Which is like this whole continuous learning is something that isn't built into the way that we look at our jobs. It's starting to go there. But actually, given once you've learned Excel, you kind of learned Excel. You've got a bit better at it. You might have done the odd course. But this is like, the tools change, it's totally different for you, and everyone's going to have to start thinking a little bit more AI first, as we've seen with the Shopify memo. Even they're struggling with it.
But it's that pace, isn't it? So at the moment, that gap, that skills gap globally, is a 6% tax on global GDP. So this is trillions we're talking here. So we can't afford, all that's going to do at the moment is widen. With the pace of change, it shows no signs of slowing down, and our ability to upskill, we have to get much more sophisticated and close this gap. Otherwise it's out of control. So 6%, that's trillions. So what Atheni does in this kind of step 3 is that it matches Carol to exactly the right skills she needs to wield these tools. These tools that are right for Carol, that her organization has approved, that are right for her workflow, that we've matched her to, and it helps her to actually use them in that much more granular and sophisticated way.
And it makes her feel comfortable as well, because it feels like she's getting something that's particularly useful for her, that she's seeing herself progress. She has Atheni as her kind of sidekick who kind of like helps her and coaches her and teaches her and makes her feel like this isn't this incredibly overwhelming space that she's not quite sure whether she's
so instead of overwhelmed now, Carol is confident, she's capable, she's 10x'd herself. It's a beautiful day. So, and then also Atheni, I think one of the key things is that, that's what Atheni does for Carol. That's her AI sidekick. But for businesses, Atheni is mission control. So this is, one of the biggest things at the moment.
And we're seeing that here a lot, isn't it? That like everyone has said, oh my goodness, anyone
we're spending so much on tools.
So much money and we've no idea.
Exactly. So valuable. Hundreds of billions a year are being spent on AI tools at the moment, and 74% of AI projects fail to deliver any return on investment. And the reason is those people and processes, right? So we've all heard about how amazing AI is going to be for our economy, but only if we fix the capability gap. And at the moment, that gap is where $1 trillion is locked in that gap. And that's exactly what we're looking at. So when we look at the kind of mission control, the organization dashboard in Atheni, what you can see as a manager is my team upskilling? Are they getting up this AI literacy curve? And I can see exactly which tools are being used, what's working, what's not working, what to scale, and I get a very granular, clear view on my ROI.
That's so important, because otherwise it's like stabbing in the dark. It's like, how do I know? You get all these, even just the generic ones, even, if you're, you have your internal tool that you have, you don't really understand. Yes, there is some usage stats, but it isn't really giving you an idea of kind of where the value actually is. So
but I think what we do know, and there's no kind of disputing it, is that the potential value from AI in our economy is in the trillions. Some put it at 15 trillion, some put it at 7 trillion, but one thing is sure, it's in the trillions. But what we're seeing at the moment with a 74% failure rate is that it's locked in that AI capability gap. It's locked. You have to, and so unless we unlock that, we don't get access to all of that value that we know is there.
And I think what's very interesting, the trip that we've had here, is that everybody recognises that's a problem. Not a single person said that's not a problem.
No, exactly.
And that is
and it's a huge problem.
And what you're doing is absolutely spot on. And that hasn't always been our experience in the UK, is it?
No, it's really mixed views. But I think also it's early days, right? So we've always found, haven't we, that, you're speaking to people about it, and there's this kind of feeling that that the tech will just roll itself out. The problem we're seeing is that it will not roll itself out.
Totally different type as well.
And also that this market shows no signs of converging. It's not converging into one mega tool. So this is not an OpenAI challenge to solve. What we need is like cross-platform orchestration, so multi-tools, tool agnostic. We need a navigation layer, right?
You can stick your agents in there, but if you don't know how to use agents, you don't know how to build agents, but everyone's going to have to be able to do that.
With 13,000 tools and growing, which one, right? It's not going to slow down, so we have to get that navigation layer in. But I think it is early days, and not a lot of people identify the problem. Here, it's like everybody knows there's a massive problem. Even Instagram guy on the stage is like, the biggest problem we face is that humans don't know how to use AI properly. We're like, I know, we're solving it. Fund us now.
Don't worry. It's good. It's good. It's great. I think the champions that we've kind of met here, across, corporate venture, across angels, pre-seed, later. So we're ready. Partners. From all around the world as well.
And it's just slightly more mature market.
But also the sense, I think, as part of startup grind, and I kind of said that earlier when it was, which is like the whole philosophy of this place is about helping each other. So you never feel to go big.
Big ideas. Big. Everything is big. Hamburgers are big.
Everything's
checks
big.
are big.
Checks are big. Exactly. And everyone's kind of really happy to chat. And discerning. But they're kind of like, when it comes to kind of setting up the investor meetings, but my God, our schedule has been
packed. But I love that. Yeah, right at the front door as you come in, it's like you make friends here.
Yeah.
You're here to make friends.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So nice.
I feel like we've made some really good friends here actually, and we've made some investor friends. We've made some kind of all across the board, and
just really positive.
Quite like the idea of living in Silicon Valley. Bringing Atheni here.